So what are the general principles? We can think about Arjuna's dilemma and as well as his surrender to Krishna, like from our own Krishna conscious way, we can see like when we saw this Karpanya Dosha Sloka, right? So that is what we saw yesterday. And Dharma Samuda Chetaha. So these are all some of the indecisions that he had. And then we have so from 11th sloka to 30th sloka, Krishna is giving all kind of responses or answers back to Arjuna's question on what is it that, like when he was mentioning killing, when he was mentioning about kingdom, he was mentioning about happiness. What was the response of Krishna when he was mentioning about there is no happiness, or there will be only shokam or only lamentation? What was Krishna's reply?
Lord Krishna's first reply was that like don't think from the bodily concept, and we are all eternal souls.
Yeah.
So you're not killing the soul, you're not killing the jivatma.
He said that.
Where did you get these qualities?
No, I'm asking specifically to
come and go.
Sorry?
It will come and go as
correct.
So where did you get these qualities?
Correct. Where did you get these qualities? He was specifically mentioning when you talk about happiness and distress, it will come and go. Like what we have the kind of weather. Sidoshna Sukha Dukkha. So like Sidoshnam, like how you have the different kind of weathers that come and go. Definitely both are not permanent, both are impermanent. So definitely it will come and go. So there is no need or there's no point of lamentation or happiness. Whatever you think it will come, it is not good on that part. Okay, so that is where we saw all the other questions. So from after 20th sloka onwards, he will start talking about other specific reasons. Okay, so Krishna is trying to defeat all the arguments of Arjuna. So we saw the last sloka of Najayate Mrideva Gadachin Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vanabhuya Ajo Nitya Shasvatoyam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Shariri. That sloka. Let's get it.
Prabhuji, you had told us to read the purport of 2.20.
Yes.
So, I've done a short summary if you want. I can.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So here, actually, Prabhupada ji explains that the individual soul is a fragment of the Supreme Spirit, and so there are 6 changes in the body, but these 6 changes does not happen with the soul because soul is unborn, and it does not have any death. It does not have any changes. It's still there. So the body develops because of soul. The changes in the body is because there is a soul present in the body. The body itself is not alive. And the soul is supposed to be Satchitanand, the same qualities as the Supreme Lord. So the soul has these qualities. And we can understand the presence of soul by the presence of our consciousness. Only by that we can know that the soul is there in the body. And the very important point he told, Prabhupada ji mentioned is, there are 2 kinds of soul, which is Vibhu Atma, which is us, and then the Supreme Atma, which is God.
So we are called as which Atma?
So we are Vibhu Atma, the small spirit.
No, we are Anu Atma. And
okay, sorry.
The super soul is
okay.
Vibhu.
Yeah, sorry.
Anu Ranyan Mato Mahiya. Like it is very, very nicely mentioned. We are all Anu Atma, and the Supreme Lord is Vibhu Atma. Vibhu Atma means the same Atma spread across. So he is there. Vibhu means cannot be even measured or cannot be totally quantified, qualified. So whatever be it is Vibhu. Vibhu means completely beyond this. So Anu means very, very, very minute, very, very small in nature. So we don't have that much of independence also. So that is what that means. So both are situated in the same tree. So both are situated in the same body. And what is important, that Anu Atma has forgotten his real nature. And therefore, the requirement is of enlightenment by Krishna. So what is the primary purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Primary purpose of Krishna giving this knowledge is the forgetful nature of the Jivatma. So why Arjuna is being enlightened as an Anu Atma or as a Jivatma is to make the Anu Atma understand the original nature of that particular Atma. Okay, so that's what Prabhupada is mentioning. what is the real nature of that particular Atma will be brought out. So in the coming slokas, what is the real nature? What is the real nature what is the real nature generally?
Servant of the Krishna.
Yes, servant of the Supreme Lord. Servant of the, so he is just the servant of the Supreme Lord. So it is only to be enjoyed and not the enjoyer. Okay, so that's the understanding that somebody should get it. Okay, so this sloka is very important. Yeah, first 6 transformations. This first para is talking about the 6 transformations that the Jivatma within that body will undergo. Like the body will undergo, sorry. The one way of putting it is the Atma will never deteriorate. The Atma will remain as it is, but the body will undergo the 6 kinds of transformations. Okay. What are the 6 kinds of? It will grow from the mother, from the womb. It will remain there for some time. Then it grows, then produces byproducts or whatever it, and gradually dwindles, and then finally vanquish. All kind of 6 kind of food. So this can be applied to any kind of a living entity, right? From a small insect, an ant, or one to a bigger animal, whatever be it, it undergoes this transformation. So the time of that particular transformation vary from one body to another body. Okay? Then we can see how fast it is. Okay? So, for example, which is the smallest animal that will undergo, or an insect that will undergo this transformation very quickly? Any idea?
The flies which have only one night of existence.
Yeah, correct. The flies which have just one night. So by the time one night, within the few hours, it produces, it grows, it produces, it dwindles, and then it just gets destroyed. Okay, so which is the animal or which lives for very, very long years?
Tortoise.
Tortoise. That's all. So, for example, if you have seen tortoise, they will say it will live for 200 years, 300 years, like that. So the number of years may vary, but still it will all undergo that 6 transformations. Show that. We'll just have a quick recap on our presentations also. Then we'll take it. Okay, so yesterday we saw the initial introduction, how we understand chapter 2. Chapter 2 is divided into 6 major categories. First is Arjuna's lamentation, then the understanding of the Jivatma and performance of karma, some portion of mind control, and then devotion service. So it is together. So these are the main topics that we'll cover. So from 13th sloka onwards, all the way, it will talk about the science of Jivatma. It is like, it is indestructible, it is immeasurable, it is imperishable, it is ajam, avyayam, all those things will come. And then the realization about Paramatma, Brahman, and the Supreme Lord. Then the other sections it will come. Okay? Dhiraha, Panditaha, like that, it will start increasing the understanding of the particular knowledge. Okay? This is what we started yesterday. So what is the first step is understanding who I am. Okay, in the spiritual life, in the understanding of the jnana, in getting that particular knowledge, what is the first important step is to understand who am I. Okay, so that is the first step. So that is what Krishna is talking about. And what is the first lesson Krishna gives? Yesterday I told. What is the first lesson? What is the first lesson Krishna gives?
Don't worry about that. It is the material nature.
Don't worry. Okay, then don't worry material nature. What you are supposed to do? I use a Sanskrit word. Don't worry.
Sukha, dukkha, sidosh.
Correct. Sidosh. What is the last word? That in the sloka, what is the last word? Titikshava. Okay. Titikshava means you have to tolerate. So first lesson he's giving is please tolerate. Tolerance is the first point that Krishna is giving the message. So this world is full of misery and happiness. It will come and go. You have to tolerate. There is no other way. Okay. So what is the common sense that we have? Understanding of the Jivatma. So whenever we say a person dies, we say usually he has passed away. But what does that mean? Because the Jivatma has taken from this body, it has moved to another body. That's all. Okay. So whenever we say my body or my hand, my thing, it means it is only into understanding of that particular Jivatma, not from a bodily perspective. This we have seen, Dehinosmin Yata Dehe, we have seen yesterday, as how this body, how the Jivatma takes from one body to another body also we have seen. Okay, so today we'll get into 20th, 21st onwards. Let's go. Somebody want to read?
Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, please. Prabhu.
Veda vinashinam nityam yayinam ajam avyayam katam sa purusha partha kam katayati antikam. Translation. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? For what? Everything has its proper utility, and a man who is situated in a complete knowledge knows how and where to apply a thing for its proper utility. Similarly, violence also has its utility, and how to apply violence rests with a person in knowledge. Although the justice of a peace awards capital punishment to a person condemned for murder, the justice of the peace cannot be blamed because he orders violence to another person according to the code of justice. In Manu Samhita, the law book for mankind, it is supported that the murderer should be condemned to death so that in his next life he will not have to suffer for the great sin he has committed. Therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is actually beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it must be concluded that violence is for supreme justice, and thus Arjuna should follow the instruction, knowing well that such violence committed in the act of fighting for Krishna is not violence at all, because at any rate the man, or rather the soul, cannot be killed. So for the administration of justice, so-called violence is permitted. A surgical operation is not meant to kill the patient, but to cure him. Therefore, the fighting to be executed by Arjuna at the instruction of Krishna is with full knowledge. So there is no possibility of sinful reaction. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this is what the reply to Arjuna's point. Like when I kill them, what I will get? In the previous chapter, he was mentioning, Arjuna, what was he mentioning? If I get somebody, I will get papam, right? He was talking about 6 kind of aggressors. Okay, in Sanskrit, what is that 6 aggressors called as? Atatainaha. So he was mentioning 6 kind of aggressors. So which means if I kill somebody, I will get papam. But what Krishna is saying, no, they are all jivatmas. Jivatmas are eternal. You are only killing the body, and this kind of an act of violence is permitted. It is okay because it is giving kind of a punishment to that particular entity, so that he will take up a better life or a better way of next set of lives. So that is where we have to see. So where everything is in proper utility. Like we saw some examples yesterday. With complete knowledge only, we will be able to utilize that particular entity in the perfect way. Okay, so that is most important. So Prabhupada used to say, remember, like when you have those the tape recorders, right? In those days, you will have tape recorder tapes, and whenever the tape gets missed or this one, right? Just to wind it up or just to make the tape into the particular cassette, what they will do? Prabhupada, you used to say this very funnily, in a very funny way. In those days, we used to have tape recorders, correct?
Yes, no problem.
So sometimes the tape gets stuck or this one becomes loose. What
We
they
do
will...
the pencil, we pull
correct.
the round.
Right.
I mean,
Correct.
we have done that.
Yeah, many of us would have done it, right?
Yeah.
Either to the Reynolds pen or the pencil,
Yeah.
we just take, we'll put that pencil inside that particular cassette and then try to make it little more tighten. Right? So Prabhupada funnily used to say, see, the purpose of that particular utility is to write, okay, but we are still using it for some other purpose. So in a way, he'll say, you know the knowledge. If you have a proper knowledge, you should know the actual purpose and for what else we can utilize that. Hmm? So everything has its proper utility. Generally, it means so which requires knowledge. Without knowledge, then that particular utility will be completely waste. This is a very nice sloka.
Asamsi jirnani yatha vihaha navani ghanati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaha jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact. Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse 2.13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the super soul. The super soul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad as well as the Shvetashvatara Upanishad, compare the soul and the super soul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master and the other is the servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The Jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do so by voluntary surrender onto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free of all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.2 and Shvetashvatara Upanishad 4.7 confirm this. Sharnane Vriksha Purusho Nimagno Nisaya Soshati Muyamanaha Jastam Yada Prayasti Anyam Isham Asya Mahimanan Iti Vita Shokaha. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in the same way or other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentations. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So this analogy we can understand. This is that analogy where you're talking about that particular Jivatma sitting along with the Paramatma in the tree, right? Very specific, nice example. So you have a tree, you have in which two parrots or two birds sitting close to each other. But what is the one parrot doing? It is not even looking at the other parrot. It is just enjoying the fruits of that particular tree and not even bothered to look at the other parrot. But what is more important, the other parrot is just watching this parrot. The moment this parrot turns towards the other parrot, then this parrot will take care of all the other necessity of the parrot. So that is what is understanding. So this example or this analogy or example is given for us to understand that the Jivatma has got a supreme Atma along with that particular entity in the same body. But unfortunately, the forgetfulness nature of the Jivatma, because it is bounded by the material modes, it is not able to understand. So that is what is being specifically mentioned in this particular. Okay, so Prabhupada is referring to Mundaka Upanishad, Shveteshwara Upanishad, and all that. But sloka is also very nice. Asam chijirnani yata vihaya navani grignati naroparani. So tata sharirani, same way, tata sharirani vihaya jiva. So how does we change our old dress to new dress? Similarly, the Jivatma accepts that. So there is nothing called Jivatma getting destroyed or Jivatma completely getting killed and all. So that the understanding, and Krishna himself is giving this analogy. Okay, so Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he gives a lot of analogies, and this is one of the very nice analogy. So he is making it very clear. You don't have to worry about they being killed. They will definitely get a better life in the next. So wherever he is talking about free from lamentation, this is also a very important point. So we are not supposed to lament. We are not supposed to lament unnecessarily. Okay, next.
नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दाहति पावकः न चैन क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोषयति मारुतः. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Purport. All kind of weapons, sword, flame weapons, rain weapons, tornado weapons, etc., are unable to kill the spirit soul. It appears that there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapon of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons. But formerly, there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Fire weapons were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor do modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces, nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. So this is very straightforward understanding. Nainam chintanti shastrani. Chintanti means cutting into it. Shastram. Any shastram you can't do. Nainam dahati pavaka. You cannot be put into fire. You cannot put into water. You cannot dry it. You cannot maruta. Maruta means completely blown away by wind. So all the panchabhutas, whatever we tried in terms of the panchabhutas, the five material gross elements like fire, earth, water, ether, nothing can be there to destroy the Jivatma. Okay, so the sloka is also very specifically talking only about the properties of Jivatma. So Prabhupada, first para is talking about the understanding. The second para is again specifically for focusing on the Maya of the philosophy, in which he is making it very clear. We are all just sparks of the fire, although in quality we are one.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking.
Is it okay now? Switch off the fan.
Hare Krishna.
Is it okay now? Is it for everybody?
Yes.
Or
It's the same.
Hare Krishna, is it okay now? Sorry, I think net was some problem. Now is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu. You can hear me.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, what Prabhupada is saying, we are all sparks of the fire. So we are all just part and parcel of the Supreme Lord with small sparks of the fire. And we are eternally different. We are eternally separated. We cannot be like, together with the Lord. So what Prabhupada is making is generally from a Mayavada philosophy, it is like, merging with the Brahman. That is kind of an illusion where if somebody want a mukti or a liberation in which he wants to get merged with the Lord. So you might have seen old movies and all, right? Sometimes there will be old black and white movies in which you will see that Jivatma, suddenly one light will come out of that particular character, and then it will just merge into the deity or merge into the Lord. You would have seen some movies, right? So generally that doesn't happen. So generally what it happens is, it happens in that way that it merges with the Brahman, not with the Supreme Lord. So when there are multiple types of liberation, one type of liberation is where it will just merge with the Brahman and remain as it is. But it will never be like together along with the Supreme Lord. It will be like next to the Lord or with the Brahman kind of a thing. So never like becoming one with the Supreme Lord. Okay, so that portion. So that is where we have a big difference of understanding between our Siddhanta and Mayavada Siddhanta. So everything is eternal, everything is separate, individual. It is there.
Krishna Prabhu, just now you mentioned that once the soul liberated, it will merge into the Brahman or through the...
That is one option. There are multiple kind of liberation. One is, if the Jivatma desires to merge with the Brahman, it will merge with the Brahman. If the Sarupya, Srashti, Samibhya, like that, there are multiple types of liberation.
So once they liberated, that means they don't have to retake again the birth and all this.
Yes, yes. So they don't undergo this birth, death, and
so those souls who do not merge, so they will fall into the birth and death cycle.
Yes. So there are multiple types of liberations. Okay, Srashti, Samibhya. Samibhya means I want to desire to be next to the Supreme Lord. So I'll just be next to the Lord only. So that is Samibhya. Sarupya means I want to get the same kind of form of the Lord. So I'll get the same kind of form. I'll be there in the higher planetary system. That's all. And then Sarupya, Samibhya, Srashti means you'll be along with the Lord in the Brahman state. So like that, there are 4 or 5 different categories. But all kind of liberation, when we study through our scriptures, later we understand that this liberation is nothing. Actually, this liberation is for a pure devotional service for devotees. This kind of liberation is not at all right. For a devotee, he can be there anywhere, everywhere, continue to do devotion service. But for a general goal purpose, how do we understand? Coming out of this material world, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, liberation is one kind of a goal. And Krishna gives that opportunity. So Bhagavad Gita is kind of an opportunity provider for everybody. Like if you want liberation, I'll give you liberation. You want more of karma, you want to do a lot of good activities, and you want to be very nice in this material world, that also is there. You want to do devotion service, you don't have to worry about this karma, you don't have to worry about yoga, you don't have to worry about this liberation, but still want to be my devotee. Yes, that is also there. So that is where you see Bhagavad Gita is kind of for everybody and anybody also, provided they accept the knowledge, they accept Krishna, then he will provide everything.
Okay. So once the soul merged with the Brahman, that is there any other type of liberation is also there?
No, that's what.
Or this is the only kind of liberation is there?
No, there are. I told you, there are multiple types of liberation. Okay. Just now I told you, right?
Yeah.
There are multiple types of liberation. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
So it is called as Salokya. Salokya means, first of all, you can when you get mukti, you can be with the Supreme Lord in the same planet. That is called as Salokya Mukti. And Srashti Mukti means you will get same opulences, same kind of things along with the Lord. It's called as Srashti Mukti. Samibhya Mukti is to get the same kind of associates, everything like the Lord, then but you can be there in the particular planet. Saurubhya means getting the same kind of form of the Lord. Ekatva means just to achieve that oneness, the same thing like merging with the Brahman portion. So these are all some of the types, like majorly 5 types: Salokya, Srashti, Samibhya, Sarubhya, Ekatva. But what our acharyas recommended is Uttama Bhakti. The Uttama devotees, they just reject all these kind of mukti. Mukti is nothing but somebody standing at our doorstep. Because once you take a pure devotion service, all that you can think is about the Supreme Lord. And then wherever you are, if you are in hellish condition also, or if you are in a heaven, or in whatever situation, you will be able to perform continued devotion service very nicely. Okay.
Okay, bro. Thank you for clarification.
So that should be our goal, and we don't have to really worry about this kind of liberation, that kind of liberation. Next.
अच्छेद्योऽयमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतः स्थाणुरचलोऽयं सनातनः. Translation: This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Purport:
Prabhu, it's fine.
All this.
I think Prabhu, I think it is readable, understood. Thanks, Prabhu. So again, continuing with the same properties of the Jivatma, it is Achedyam, Adhyayam, Ayam, Akledyam, Ashoshyam, Nityam, okay, Sarvagatah Stanu. Okay, so all kind of properties. It is unbreakable, insoluble, cannot be burnt, cannot be dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Okay, so these are some of the word all pervading is also very important. So Prabhupada mentions Jivatma is not only present in a where you just think about material, this material manifestation. There are Jivatmas present in the sun planet. There are Jivatmas present in the moon planet. There are Jivatmas present everywhere. Only thing is we are not able to contemplate, or we are not able to understand the presence of Jivatmas, but it is there. So everything will be in the Vyaktam state, Avyaktam. Then it becomes Avyaktam. For example, you go during summer time, right? If you go through any patch of land, the land will be very dry and barren land, right? But suddenly if it rains, after a few weeks, you will see a lot of greenery, a lot of grass coming. So where does that come from? It is already remaining there in the soil. But the moment the material nature creates or triggers that particular that seed to grow, immediately that grows and gets into production. So the presence of Jivatma is spread across everywhere. That is why it is like present everywhere. That's what Sarvagataha. Sarvagata means all pervading. Similar to how do we understand Jiva? How as Paramatma, the Supreme Lord Brahman, is also Sarvagataha. Jivatma is also present everywhere. So it is like, for example, you talk about a desert in a remote desert, Kalahari Desert in Africa, to a big what do you say, polar region or Antarctica region also. There are living species animals, right? So how do we understand? We understand in that way only. So depending upon that particular Tatpavatpam, it means that particular place, location, and the natural conditions, that Jivatma is getting the required kind of a body and production. Okay. So Prabhupada is giving the slot. If the sun globe is uninhabited, then the word Sarvagata is living place. So that is what he will say. Do we have any living beings in sun planet? Yes, but according to the sun planet's conditions, then it will have that kind of a body. Okay. Now, Anand Prabhu, you can continue this sloka also.
Avyaktoyamachintyoyam avikaryoyamuchyate tasmadevam viditvainam nanushochitumarhasi. Translation: It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Yeah, you can take the first paragraph.
Purport: As described previously, the magnitude of the soul is so small for our material calculation that he cannot be even seen by the most powerful microscope. Therefore, he is invisible. As far as the soul's existence is concerned, no one can establish his existence experimentally beyond the proof of Shruti or Vedic wisdom. We have to accept this truth because there is no other source of understanding the existence of the soul, although it is a fact by perception.
Thanks, bro. So it is a fact by perception. Like certain things, we have to accept that fact as truth. So whatever our Veda Pramanam, like Shabda Pramanam, by hearing through the Shruti, hearing through our eyes, sorry, ears, we accept it as it is. So whenever we try to understand or realize through the other modes, that there might be fault, there might be illusion, and we may not be really able to get the correct or the real knowledge. But when you accept it through the Shruti, when we accept it through the Shabda Pramanam, through the scriptures, we accept it as it is. So in normal language also we say, whatever we see, it may not be the real truth. Whatever we feel or what we undergo experiment may not be the real truth. But when we go through scriptures, then we accept that as the perfect truth. Okay? So this is also again a nice sloka. It is avyaktam, it is achintyam, it is abhikaryam. So like that, it is also again getting, so it is invisible, inconceivable, achintyam. Okay, Krishna is achintyam. Okay? So Krishna is inconceivable. We cannot conceive, okay, in a particular way, oh, this is how the Lord is. Similarly, even Jivatma also, we will never be able to put within a particular boundary and say this is how it is. It is beyond our this one. Okay? Abhikaryam means it is never changeable. So Prabhupada is using this word. Repetition of something is necessary in order that we understand the matter thoroughly without error. So what is that repetition of something? Because certain times Krishna repeats the same message multiple times in Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So even Prabhupada also throughout Bhagavatam, throughout Bhagavad Gita, he might repeat the same message. What kind of same message? What kind of same message? He will generally say, control your senses, focus on your sadhana, always eat prashadam, ensure that you are associated with devotees, always remember Krishna. So the certain fundamental Krishna conscious policies or principles, he'll keep on repeating it. Why does he repeat? Because repetition only will make the matter more thoroughly understandable, and it will go into our heart and then our mind. Otherwise, you just tell one time and then it goes, then it will never be fully into the heart. So that is why Prabhupada is making it very clear. So sometimes Krishna himself, through this set of slokas, he will try to repeat the same thing. Okay, then you might say, oh, we have already seen that, but why does he do? He does that only for more authority or more kind of a conviction that yes, this is the real truth. Thoroughly without error. Yeah, 26th. Any Mataji?
Chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mrutam tathapi tvam mahabhavo naivam shochitumarhasi. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptom of life is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament. O mighty arm! There is always a class of philosophers almost akin to Buddhists who do not believe in the separation existence of the soul beyond the body. When the Lord Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, it appears that such a philosophers existed, and they were known as the Lokaikas and Vaibhavashikas. Such a philosophers maintain that the life symptoms take place at a certain mature condition of material combination. The modern material scientists and the materialist philosophers also think similarly. According to them, the body is combination of physical elements, and at a certain stage, the life symptoms develop by interaction of physical and chemical elements. The science of anthropology is based on this philosophy. Currently, many pseudo religions now becoming fashionable in America are also adhering to this philosophy, as well as the nihilistic, non-devotional Buddhist sects. Even if Arjuna did not believe in the existence of the soul, as in the Vaibhashika philosophy, there would still have been no cause for lamentation. No one laments the loss of certain bulk of chemicals and stops discharging his prescribed duty. On the other hand, in the modern science and scientific warfare, so many tons of chemicals are wasted for achieving victory over the enemy. According to the Vaibhashika philosophy, the so-called soul or Atma vanishes along with the deterioration of the body. So
Fine. It's fine. I think we understand the point. So again, Prabhupada is giving this, and Krishna himself is giving this. What does he understand? If you think that the Jivatma will also get destroyed along with the body, even for that you don't need to really worry. Okay, because what is that? Even if that is the case, the so-called Atma vanishes along with the body. So in case whether Arjuna accepts the Vedic conclusion, there is an atomic soul or not, he still doesn't have to really lament. Okay. Why? Because there is no need of lamentation, because it is just only discharge or destruction of the chemicals. Destruction of, for example, this body is made up of some 200 bones and then small set of bag of chemicals. It gets destroyed. Fine, that's all. So there's nothing to be really worried about that particular concept of Jivatma. So if you don't accept the concept of Jivatma and the body, even for that also you don't have to really worry. So that's the basic understanding Krishna is also trying to give it here. So even during that time, we have this kind of philosophical group of men, like Lokatyas and Vaibhashikas. The last line is also nice. Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Mahabahu, and as a Kshatriya, he should belong to a community where all the Vedic culture is accepted. So it should be following that particular set of principles of Vedic culture. So mostly in another 2-3 slokas, he will conclude this entire section of what is the Jivatma.
Jastahe dhruvo
Jatasya
dhruvo mrityor dhruvam jana mrityasya cha tasmat aprihare te natavam sochitam harse. Translation: one who has taken his birth is sure to die. After that, one should take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Purport: one has to take birth according to one activities of life, and after finishing one terms of activity, one has to die to take birth for next. In this way, one is going through one cycle of birth and death after another without liberation. This cycle of birth and death does not matter. However, support unnecessary murder, slaughter, and war. But at the same time, violence and war are inevitable factor in human society for keeping law and order. The battle of Kurukshetra, being the will of Supreme, was an inevitable event, and to fight for the right cause is the duty of Kshatriya. Why should be afraid of afraid at the death and of his relatives? Since he was discharging his proper duty, he did not deserve to break the law, thereby becoming subject to the reaction of sinful acts, of which he was so afraid. By avoiding this discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death of his relative, and he would be degraded due to his selection of the wrong path of action. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So this is again last conclusion. What is saying? Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janmasya mrityasya tasmat aprihayate natvam. So whatever be it, you don't have to really worry. Okay? Natvam shoshitum arhasi. You don't have to. Arhasi means you arhata. Arhata means like you what is the qualification for you to worry? You don't have to really worry about it. You just have to perform your tasmat aprihayate. You just have to do is certain things is unavoidable. Okay, so that is what we can see. So you have to perform your duty. That's all. Okay, Jatasya. So normally in our olden days or all the old people, whenever somebody is dead, see whoever is born one day or the other, they will going to die. right? So they'll sell this word, right? Generally, they'll say, no, whomsoever is born, one day they are going to die. Who is saying this? Krishna himself is saying this. Okay. So if somebody is saying, hey, don't talk like that, then you can always say, no, Krishna himself is saying, Jata se dhruvam mrityam dhruvam janmasya mrityasya. Whomsoever is born, one day or the other, they will die. So there is no need to, there's no need for you to worry about that. Anyway, after their birth, they will get into some other kind of a body, and then they will still continue. So for that, at least you don't have to worry. So throughout this set of slokas, right? Always you'll say Natvam Shoshit Marhasi, or don't worry. You'll keep on saying, you don't have to worry. Okay, first thing, when we saw Krishna was mentioning about all this Jivatma portion, indirectly he's mentioning first to stop worrying. Don't be unhappy. Okay, whatever is going to happen, it is for good. It will happen as it is. It is all Krishna's will. Okay, Prabhupada is making it very nicely. The entire battle of Kurukshetra is being the will of the Supreme Lord, and it is an inevitable event. So whatever be it will happen. And he is just supposed to perform his duty. That's all. So that is where, very importantly, when we are in a very difficult situation, when we are in a very paivan situation where we don't know what to do, what we have to simply say, just see, we are in a situation where we just have to perform our duty. Whatever happens, it is at the Krishna's will. We just continue our activity. Sometimes we are put in a very difficult and troublesome situation, whether to do or not to do, what is it and all. Okay. But when we get that knowledge, when we get that understanding, we will still have to perform that act as a matter of duty, as a matter of performing the karma, and then we don't have to really worry about what will happen next. That is the fundamental understanding. So this line is very important. By avoiding the discharge of his proper duty, he would not be able to stop the death. So today I may not fight, and then I may just escape. But that doesn't mean that that particular relatives or forefathers will die. Anyway, they are going to die one day or other. If you are not going to fight, one day or other they are going to fight. They are going to be dead. Okay. So at least for the sake of performing the duty, you have to fight against it. That is that. Clear? So this is the continuation of this 27 and 28. 27 is what? Whatever be it, that particular Jivatma will undergo Jata se he dhruvam mrityam. Anyone who is taking birth, whenever is taking birth, then there is definitely death. There is no other choice. Right? So between this birth and death, what is happening? This vyaktam and avyaktam. That is manifestation and unmanifestation. Okay. Avyaktani bhutani vyaktam. Vyakta madhyani bhartaha avyakta nidananeva tatraka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifested in the beginning, manifest in interim state, and then unmanifest again. And so what is the need for lamentation? So I told you, right? There is avyakta state, then vyaktam state in the middle, and then again unmanifest. So it is like continuously it happens. Avyaktam, vyaktam, avyaktam, avyaktam, vyaktam, avyaktam. So I gave you an example, right? So summertime, all the land is completely dry. Again, winter time, it is full of green, everything. And then again, summer comes, it all goes. Where does it go? It goes into the avyaktam state. Similarly, in this world, there are so many living species with different bodies. During the annihilation time, certain type of new bodies, new jivatmas take up that particular body and then come. But after sometimes that particular thing will go away, and then still it will be in the avyaktam state, and then again it will come. That's all. Okay. So for example, when we say corona, is it still there or not there? Or fully gone?
Still there, bro.
Still there, right? So somewhere it will be there. We don't know. It will be in the avyaktam state. So whenever that particular condition appears again, then it will come into the vyaktam state. Then it will perform whatever it has to do. Then after some time, it gets into avyaktam state. So very nicely, Prabhupada will say for this sloka. Sometimes we say we have totally eradicated malaria. We have totally eradicated dengue. We have totally eradicated polio, smallpox, chickenpox, whatever kind of vaccinations we try to do, no. But even after so much of development, so much of developed state countries, still somewhere here there is still this chickenpox is happening. Still malaria is coming. Still that even in Singapore also, right? Dengue. We say it's a very highly advanced developed country. Nothing will happen. So all the mosquitoes are getting destroyed. They use all kind of latest scientific methods, all kind of awareness campaigns, everything. Still mosquitoes exist. Within the mosquito, what does it exist? That malaria virus is existing. Yes, accept. So that is where we see, even though it is kind of so-called material advancement in life, but this avyaktam, vyaktam, and avyaktam will continue. Tatra ka parideva. So for whatever be it, don't lament. It will come. If it wants to come, definitely it will come. When it wants to go, it will definitely, you cannot stop it. It will go, and then again it will come. So this is called as, this portion of whatever we understood. This section is called as Atma Sakshakaram. Atma Sakshakaram is nothing but the understanding of the Jivatma. From the 13th sloka, from 12th sloka onwards, the 13th sloka till 29, 30 slokas, near to 18 slokas. It is all about understanding the feature of Jivatma. Okay, in this sloka we can read the translation.
All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated.
Yeah.
So what need is...
We can go to the next sloka, 29.
Okay. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschit enam, ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanyam, ascharyavat chainam anyay shrinoti, shrutvapi enam veda na chaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to find this passage in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.7.
Fine, I think it should be okay.
The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful, either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution of the material miseries. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one, without distinction of magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul, and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotees and by no other way. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is very nice. This is what Prabhupada's way of seeing, his way of giving out that mercy, right? So typically when we say, when we go through this, the sloka is very clearly mentioning this Jivatma is Ascharyavat Paschati Kachit Enam Ascharyavat Tadeta. So it is Ascharya. Ascharya means completely amazing. Nobody is able to understand. Nobody is able to understand how it comes. Nobody is able to understand how it sees. Nobody understands how it goes. It's complete in a very bewildered state. Okay, so that is the fundamental understanding. So nobody will say, "Oh, I know fully. I know end to end of it." Nobody can say it. It is still continuously being very amazing. Okay, that is the direct meaning of the sloka. Okay? And Prabhupada is giving all kind of specific understanding to make sure that we understand the importance of knowing the Jivatma. And finally, he concludes this with a very nice way. So this is the mood of Prabhupada. So what is Prabhupada's mood? Is for us to understand the Jivatma, for us to understand into bhakti, for us to understand into the other aspects of life, all that we have to do is just to go through Bhagavad Gita. Okay? So, and accept without being deviated by other theories. So whatever Krishna says, you just accept it. When Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, I am the owner, I am the creator, just accept as it is. And you don't have to really think about how, what, and all. Okay? Which requires lot of great deal of penance and sacrifice. So today, when we undergo this class, when you have this bhakti shastri class going on, there are some activities that you might have forgone, or you might have on a Sunday afternoon sitting here and attending class. It's kind of a tapasya or a penance, right? But still, you undergo this for what? For to accept Krishna, to undergo this transformation of getting the knowledge. So getting this knowledge getting into bhakti requires some kind of a tapasya, some kind of sacrifice, which means you are away from sense gratification, at least for some time, away from thinking about so many other activities. So that is why Prabhupada is making it like, so it will happen only by the costless mercy of pure devotees. So when it happens through your bhakti, it will happen through Krishna, through the devotees, and there is no other way, he is saying. So that is why whenever we try to sit and read Prabhupada's purports, we should think that we are very fortunate. It is not that, it happens just like that. Okay? It has got a purpose. And when we read through Prabhupada's purports and books daily, it is just by costless mercy of devotees. It is just costless mercy of the acharyas that we are able to sit and read Bhagavad Gita, undergo this tapasya, undergo this little bit of penance during a Sunday afternoon, or a Saturday evening, whatever be it, we get this knowledge so that we get the pure taste of bhakti. And how does it happen? He said, easiest process for understanding the subject matter is to accept the statements of Bhagavad Gita. That's all. Okay, so that is where it is. And this sloka is also specifically mentioning about the Ascharya portion, that which is very amazing. We will never be able to easily understand. Okay, so for this sloka, Prabhupada gives the example of this, how curd, the milk overnight becomes curd. How does it become curd?
With the help of milk.
Huh? Milk will become curd. How?
After contaminating.
How does it get contaminated?
We are adding some
curd
from contaminated.
Correct. Okay. More scientifically,
we add the culture.
Correct. What does that culture contain?
It contains the same element as is intended.
Correct. So what scientifically you see that culture of that curd contains small molecule bacteria. So bacteria are of two types. One is good bacteria and bad bacteria. So scientifically, Prabhupada will, because he is from a pharmaceutical background, he gave this example very nicely. It is very Ascharya, because the curd that is there, that is he is also giving an analogy. Sometimes if we eat more, if we drink bad milk, our stomach will get upset. Or any milk product that is kind of bad, it becomes our stomach will get upset, we get the diarrhea, everything. But what is the cure is again another milk product only. Like you want to eat or you have to take curd or some kind of milk, this one, so that your stomach gets cleaned. So the cause of that particular disease or thing is also a kind of a product from the same milk, but still the cure is also not the same thing. Okay, this is honest, but he's making it very clear. It is why it is amazing, because curd contains small bacteria. It is not possible for us to understand. Curd means very pure everything, but still it contains very good bacteria. So what does that bacteria do? That bacteria cultivate within overnight into multiple millions of small bacteria. So it changes the culture of that particular milk into curd, and then that also gets destroyed immediately. Overnight means within 6 hours or 8 hours. Curd, having that good bacteria, converts that milk into another form of curd, expands itself, and then gets destroyed also. So at some point of time, you'll say, oh, this is also again another way of bacteria. Yes, it is fermentation, or it is getting into a bacteria way. Yes, it is a way, but still it is highly impossible for us to contemplate or think about it. Okay? That is why this Ashcharyam portion Krishna is bringing it up. So that is also a Jivatma, and a Jivatma inside a big dinosaur, a big lion, is also a Jivatma. Okay. Last sloka of this particular section. Dehe nityam avadyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata, tasmat sarvani bhutani nattam shoshimati. Okay, read this.
O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport. The Lord now concludes this chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a Kshatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teachers, Bhishma and Drona, will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul difference from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is an actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of sanctions of the Lord and not capriciously.
Capriciously. Very nice word, capricious. Capricious means kind of cheating mentality, a kind of mentality by which you will say, I will not do this because of this. Okay, we try to find all kind of capricious ways of reasons not to do. Okay, capricious mentality. So Prabhupada is making this statement to ensure that don't find out all kind of reasons of not performing your duty. Okay, that is the conclusion. Okay, so what does it conclude? Dehe nityam avadhyoyam, dehe sarvasya bharata, tasmat sarvani bodhani attam. So whatever be it, the jivatma will never be get destroyed. Only that body will get destroyed. So you don't have to really worry. Okay? Na shoshitum. So in the last section, everything he's talking about, don't lament. So Krishna is first pacifying Arjuna. Okay, stop crying. Right? Don't worry now. Okay, first understand what is the difference between Jivatma and Paramatma. You are all talking about you started talking about a big Pandita, but you have to understand he is a Jivatma. They are not destroyed. The Jivatma's properties are. So he gives a full explanation of the Jivatma and then concludes that first stop worrying about Jivatma. You have to perform your duty. Whatever be it, you have to perform your duty and they will never be destroyed. Okay. So what are all the properties?
It is eternal.
Yeah, it is eternal. So these are some of the things. Okay, it is Satchit Anandam. It is eternal. It is permanent. It is blissful. It can never be cut. It can never be burned. It can never be moistened by water. It can be withered. It cannot be withered by wind. It is full of knowledge. The presence of soul is understood through the consciousness. Like when it is all pervasive through the body, we can understand. It is not made up of 5 gross material elements. It is completely spiritual. Then it is immeasurable, immutable, inconceivable, and invisible also. Okay? And then lastly, what is the conclusion is saying? One who has taken birth is sure to die. And after death is sure to take birth. Okay? It is not about sure to die also. He's making it very clear. Only for certain group, certain people, there will not be any birth. But 99% in general understanding, everybody will have to undergo the birth and death cycle, and they will develop it. So what kind of birth will be told later. Okay, what is the understanding of next birth and all will come. But fundamentally, this will happen. Okay? So therefore, in any kind of an unavoidable state, you have to perform your duty, and you should not lament. Okay? So from an examination point of view, there may be a question where what are all the properties? Can you write 10 different properties or of understanding of a Jivatma? You are supposed to write. Okay? So this is where we will understand. It can be never cut, can be never burnt. Okay. Najayate Vedeva motion also. Nainam Chintanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavakaha. So all those specific understanding you can write. So where does the soul reside?
In the heart area.
In the heart. So can we see the soul?
No.
No. So is the size of the soul same for all living beings or different?
Yes, same.
Yes.
Same. Okay. So irrespective of the body size and shape and characteristics of the body, Jivatma remains the same. That's all. Because of that bodily conditions bound by the material modes, the consciousness, the intelligence, the senses, everything will change. But everything is all at the gross level only. But at the subtle level or at the spiritual level, this is the same. Can we see the soul through the microscope? No.
No.
Let's get into the next section. It is all about performance of karma. This is from here onwards, from 31 to 38. Another next set of 8 slokas. It just talk about only perform of karma. Whatever be it, you have to do your duty. Okay? So this is this section. So one section is all about Jivatma. Now this section is all about getting into the karma portion, karma yoga. Maybe we'll take a quick 5 minutes break. Then we will start with 31st sloka. Starts with Swadharmam apichabesya na vibhaktam arhasi dharmyati udyachreyo kshatriya avidiyate. Okay. First word he's using as Swadharma. Okay. We'll take a small break, then we'll come back. It's 12:20, 12:24 or 12:25. We will continue. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Let's go. So this section is all about Karma Yoga. We'll continue with the next 8 to 9 slokas. Yeah, somebody read, or you can read. Swadharmam pichavepshya navivaktum varhasi dharmyadhi yuddhat shreyonyat kshatriyasya navidiyate.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. One of the 4 orders of social administration, the second order for the matter of good administration is called Kshatriya. Kshat means hurt. One who gives protection from harm is called Kshatriya. Trayate, to give protection. Sorry. The Kshatriyas are trained for killing in the forest. A Kshatriya would go into the forest and challenge a tiger face to face and fight with the tiger with his sword. When the tiger was killed, it would be offered the royal order of cremation. This system has been followed even up to the present day by the Kshatriya kings of Jaipur state. The Kshatriyas are specially trained for challenging and killing because religious violence is sometimes a necessary factor. Therefore, Kshatriyas are never meant for accepting directly the order of sannyasa or renunciation. Non-violence in politics may be a diplomacy, but it is never a factor or principle. In the religious law books, it is stated, in the battlefield, a king or Kshatriya, while fighting another king envious of him, is eligible for achieving the heavenly planets after death. as the Brahmanas also attain the heavenly planets by sacrificing animals in the sacrificial fire. Therefore, killing on the battlefield on religious principles and killing animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. The animal sacrifice gets a human life immediately without undergoing the gradual evolutionary process from one form to another. And the Kshatriyas killed on the battlefield also attain the heavenly planets, also do the Brahmanas who attain them by offering sacrifice. There are two kinds of swadharmas, specific duties. As long as one is not liberated, one has to perform the duties of his particular body in accordance with religious principles in order to achieve liberation. When one is liberated, one's swadharma specific duty becomes spiritual, and it is not in the material bodily concept. In the bodily conception of life, there are specific duties for the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas respectively, and such duties are unavoidable. Swadharma is ordained by the Lord, and this will be clarified in the 4th chapter. On the bodily plane, Swadharma is called Varnashram Dharma, or man's stepping stone for spiritual understanding. Human civilization begins from the stage of Varnashram Dharma, or specific duties in terms of the specific modes of the body obtained, the specific mode of nature of the body obtained. Discharging one's specific duty in any field of action in accordance with the orders of higher authorities serves to elevate one to a higher status of life. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Very nice purport, very important purport also. Talks about Swadharmam. The word Swadharmam across Bhagavad Gita, many places Krishna is using. Fundamentally, to understand what is our actual religious duty. What is, as per our Shastras, what are we supposed to perform? Okay, so following the religious principles, as per the Varna and as per the Ashrama. So Varna and Ashrama are two different concepts put together as Varna Ashrama, right? So as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and Ashrama is Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. That is the Ashrama portion. Varna is the based on the occupational duties. So both together, what Krishna is saying, as a Kshatriya, one was as a person in that particular Varna Ashrama, you are supposed to perform your duty. So what kind of duty? The duties as laid down by the scriptures. For Kshatriya, it is protection. For a Vaishya, it is Vanigam, it is doing business. For a Shudra, performance of labor activities. For a Brahmana, reading through knowledge, reading through scriptures, providing guidance to the entire society. Right? Performing yajna. So all those things is part of the Brahmana class. So every class has got its own Swadharma clearly defined, and the Ashrama also. So this way Prabhupada is mentioning, if you follow your religious principle according to your dharma, Swadharma, that will help you to elevate you from this particular condition to the next level. So whatever be it, you have to perform your duty as per your Swadharma. Then the second portion is getting into spiritual world. Once you are Daiva Varnashrama means once you tag or once you get everything into a spiritual way of performing everything for the pleasure of the Lord, that is also another way in which you don't have to really follow certain scriptural procedure, but still that is considered okay because it is dovetailed or it is focused towards pleasing Krishna. Okay, but until you get to that spiritual platform level, until you are in that particular elevated state, you are supposed to continue what you are doing. Okay? That is why Krishna consciousness is practical way of living, which means you follow your activities. You continue to be a doctor, you continue to be a carpenter, you continue to be a whatever dharma that you're doing, continue. There is no restriction, nothing. Okay, but you can still perform religious activities. You can still continue getting into the devotional activities as per this. Okay, so that is why it is making it very clear and understandable. Okay, so for a Kshatriya, your specific duty is to engage in fightings on religious principles. So when for protection or somebody is getting attacked, you are supposed to do the protection activity. Right? Administration, all those political dealings, protecting the society, protecting the people, everything is part of the Kshatriya mentality. So you are supposed to do, as a Kshatriya at least, you are supposed to fight. Okay, so from the examination point of view, what is meant by Kshatriya? Kshatriya means somebody who is supposed to, Kshatriya means who is supposed to give protection. Okay. So what is the need or necessity for going and doing hunting in the forest. The Prabhupada is making this point. No? Even in now, they'll go and fight in the forest. Sorry, not fighting, hunting in the forest. Why hunting is kind of considered okay? Any idea?
Because that animal which is hunted, it will be offered at the sacrificial altar, and it will immediately get a human birth after that. Instead of going to going through the evolutionary process.
That is okay. That is after hunting. Okay, this is after hunting. Primarily, why then hunting? Like if you don't do hunting, that's okay, right? I mean, so what is the purpose of hunting?
Is to challenge and be strong and be prepared for any adversity in life.
Yes. Okay. So that is also right. So Kshatriyas will get an opportunity to show their bravery, to show their challenging mentality, to show all kind of prowess or that bravery portion, undergo certain challenging situations. So they go for hunting. Okay. Then anything else? They protect the society in the land or the city, it's okay. But all the way they go to the forest just to do hunting, right? What is it? Any other reason?
Training.
Huh?
Training for killing.
Okay. Okay, whatever Anuj Prabhu said is also right. Just to mention this one, but generally, when it is a duty of the Kshatriya king, it is not only to protect the society of men and women or children in the town. It is necessary for the kings to protect even in forest also. So sometimes if the carnivorous animals, or if there is a disparity between the number of animals, of wild animals, increases more and more, and the other animals reduce. So in one way, just to balance, this is again as per Shastra Pramanam, just to balance the society within the forest of the people, of the animal variation. So they do this hunting in the forest. That's all. There's nothing very specifically mentioned why and all, but just to show their bravery. That is one part of it. Other part is to give protection to the lower level of animals like deer and monkeys and other small cows and buffaloes and other things. When the carnivorous animals population increases, it requires some kind of a balancing act. So that is why they do that. So this para is also important. Two kind of swadharma. One is following regular principle. Other one is through the spiritual way. Next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I read it, Prabhu?
Please, Prabhu.
Okay. Text 32. Yatruchaya sopapannam swargatvaram apavritam sukhina kshatriyaha partha labanti yuttam yutrusham. Translation. O Partha, happy are the Satriyas whom such a fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Purport. As supreme teacher of the world, Lord Krishna condemns that attitude of Arjuna, who said, I do not find any good in this fighting. It will cause perpetual habitation in hell. Such statements by Arjuna were due to ignorance only. He wanted to become non-violent in the discharge of his specific duty. For a Satriyas to be on the battlefield and to become non-violent is the philosophy of fools. In the Parasurama Smriti, or religious quotes made by the Parasura, the great sage on father of Vyasadeva, it is stated, the Satriya's duty is to protect the citizen from all kind of difficulties, and for the reason he has to apply violence in suitable cases for law and order. Therefore, he has to conquer the soldiers of inimical kings, and thus, with the religious principle, he should rule over the world. Considering all the aspects, Arjuna had no reason to refrain from the fighting. If he should conquer his enemies, he would enjoy the kingdom, and if he should die in the battle, he would be elevated to the heavenly planets, whose doors were wide open to him. Fighting would be for his benefit in either case. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So either way, it is better to fight. So if you lose, if you win also, you will get a lot of happiness, you will get everything. But if you lose also, yadrishya chopapannam swargadwaram apavritam. Swargadwaram apavritam means, see, for somebody, generally we say, no, veera tyag, like somebody dying in the battlefield, which means he's get a better death for a Kshatriya, right? So somebody dying in the battlefield, we call it, is more glorious than dying at the home. For an army man or a person, dying in the battlefield is more glorious than dying at the home or in hospital. Right? So that is what Krishna is saying. Swargadwaram apavrtam. For that particular person, the doors of heaven will be always open. Okay, Sukhina Kshatriya Partha Labante Yuddham. So whatever be is, you will definitely get that. So even if you die in front of them also, for you it is more beneficial because Swargadwaram Apavrtam. So as a Kshatriya with a fighting opportunity to protect the society, you will fight. Even if you lose also, you don't have to worry because Swargadwaram Apavrtam. So Krishna is giving that answer to the first chapter question. I do not find anything good in fighting. It will cause perpetuation, hellish condition, habitation. So he was mentioning that, no, I don't see any reason why to fight. But Krishna is saying you have all the reason to fight because as a Kshatriya, you are supposed to fight. Even if you lose, you will have that Swargadwaram Apavrit. Next. So all these fundamentally what is saying? Perform your duty, perform your duty, perform your duty. Yeah, Sheetlamat. Yes, Sheetlamat.
Hello, read. Hello, read.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Text 33. Atha chetvam imam dharmam sangramam na karishyasi tata sudharmam kirtim cha hitva papam avapsasi. Translation. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur the sins for neglecting your duties and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. Purport. Arjuna was a famous fighter and he attained fame by fighting many great demigods, including even Lord Shiva. After fighting and defeating Lord Shiva in the dress of a hunter, Arjuna pleased the Lord and received as a reward a weapon called Pashupatastra. Everyone knew that he was a great warrior. Even Dronacharya gave him benedictions and awarded him the special weapon by which he could kill even his teacher. So he was credited with so many military certificates from many authorities, including his adopted father Indra, the heavenly king. But if he abandoned the battle, not only would he neglect his specific duty as a Kshatriya, but he would lose all his fame and good name and thus prepare his royal road to hell. In other words, he would go to hell not by fighting, but by withdrawing from battle. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So if, however, you do not perform, now making it very clear. What was the earlier in the chapter he was saying? If I kill, what will happen? I'll get sin. Correct? But Krishna is making query. If you don't fight only, you will get sin. Atha chetvam ivam dharmyam sangramam na karishihi swadharmahim kirtim cha hitva papam avapsasi. So it is completely the other way. So making it very clear. So what was Arjuna saying in the first chapter? He was saying, oh, if I kill, I will get a lot of papam. If I fight, I will get into, I'll get a lot of bad karma, this one. But what Krishna is saying, Atha chetva imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi. If you do not perform your dharma, if you do not perform your swadharma, kirtim cha hitva, you will lose your kirtim, you will lose your the famous, being very famous, kirti, that, and you will get papam avapsasi. You will get papam also. Right? So this is very nice way of seeing it. Sometimes we think, oh, this will be bad, this will be not good, but actually not perform that will be bad. Okay, so many times whenever we are in certain situations, we might think, oh, if I do this, it'll be no, it'll be a bad thing, so let me not do it. But actually, if you don't do it, only it will be bad. Okay, so that is what Krishna is making it very nicely. Okay, so Prabhupada is giving that example of Pashupata, Pashupata from Parshurama. He got that Lord Shiva. He got this Pashupashastram, right? So he was a great warrior. He was credited with so many things, but now his kirti, his reputation and papam will again come if you don't fight him. So again another, he would go to hell not by fighting. So he was saying, if I kill, I will go to hell. Now Krishna is saying, if you don't fight only, you will go to hell. Clear? Any doubt? Okay. So now all these dharmyam, swadharmam, dharma, so all these things are specifically focusing on performing of the karma. Okay, the karma, importance of karma.
कीर्ति चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते विद्वान् संभावितस्य कीर्ति मरणादतिरिच्यते. Both as friend and philosopher to Arjuna, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjuna's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjuna, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you would do better to die in the battle. For the respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in society. So the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjuna to die in the battle and not withdraw.
Final conclusion. What is the final conclusion? If you run away, now what was Arjuna's mentality? The last sloka, I will just leave everything. I will drop my Gandiva. I will just run away from here. Even if they come and kill me also. Last point, what was he saying? Even if they come and kill, okay, Dhardrashtra Bandhunan. So even if the Dhardrashtra's, if the Dhritarashtra's friends or the Dronas or the Duryodhanas come and kill me, I am ready to die, right? So what Krishna is saying, this is again a Kshatriya mentality, right? If you run away from the battle, it is more worst than the death. So a Kshatriya or a warrior should die in the battlefield rather than running away from the battlefield. So akitimcha bhutani katayashyanti avyayam. So forever they'll keep on talking about you. Right? So nowadays people will talk about somebody even after many years. So today also we are talking about so many great warriors. So right from our Ramayana, Mahabharata to our great all these kings, right? Whomsoever ruled over India, ruled over Bharatavarsha, and we talk about various other kings also. Like whenever we talk about Chandragupta Maurya, whenever we talk about all the Mughal dynasty, so many people we talk, all types of kings, everybody. Even we talk about Alexander the Great, we talk about Napoleon, even so many other kings also. But what is the fundamental thing is Kadayaschani. So whatever we talk is about their glories, in which they fought, they lose, or Shivaji, for example, Shivaji also, right? Throughout Maratha war, we glorify Shivaji. But fundamentally, what is the thing? It is better to fight and then die in the battlefield than run away. So that is the most important thing. Dishonor is worse than akirticha maranat atirichyate. Akirti means ill fame, right? Or somebody talking about bad about that person. It is better, it is worse than the death. So for a Kshatriya, it is very important to maintain that kirti or the respect. Sambhavati, for a respectable person like you, you are supposed to maintain that. So you better die, that is okay. So Krishna is making it very clear. Hey, you have to fight, whether you lose or win or you die, that doesn't matter. You have to fight. Clear? So what is the underlying understanding? Perform your duty. So even certain situations we feel like we will lose. Certain situations we think, oh, I will fail. I may not be able to do. I will not be able to do perfectly. All those things are secondary. Even if you're not able to, that is why we say, in exam for children also, when you say, when you want to write exam, it's okay. Whatever be the result or whatever be it, you write. Then the result portion will be taken care automatically. Right? Similarly, even our normal duties, fundamental duties also, whatever be it, we are supposed to perform. We are not supposed to neglect or escape from the fundamental duties. Okay. Another 10 minutes, we'll try to wrap up this section.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Can I read it, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, you can read.
Okay,
I'll read the sloka. Bhayat ranadu prahatam manyashyante tvam maharataha yeshant bhamma tam bahumato bhutva yasya.
Translation. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left in the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Purport. Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjuna. Do not think that the great generals like Duryodhana, Karna, and other Kataporis will think that you have left in the battlefield out of compassion for your brother and the grandfather. They will think that you have left out of fear for your life, and thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So again, continuation. If you like when he started, what he was saying, I want to see who has come to fight for Duryodhana, right? So that was his mentality. His mentality was he was in a very brave, very kind of a position where he wanted to immediately fight, right? But now, if he just runs away, what will happen? The same Duryodhana, same Karna, all these people will just laugh at him, and then they will think of him as very insignificant person. What is the understanding? What is the fundamental thing that Krishna gives from all these slokas?
Perform the duty.
Yeah, perform the duty.
His duty, what is?
Yeah, you have to fight. You have to fight. You cannot escape from the fight. Okay, next sloka. Small perpetuum. Yeah. What is the translation perpetuum?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Okay, anybody? Yeah, quickly.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn by your ability. What could be more painful for you? Papa. Lord Krishna was astonished in the being at Arjuna's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non-Aryans. Now, in some many words, we have proved his statement. Again, Arjuna's so-called compassion.
So the so-called compassion is completely wrong, right? So your enemies, avachya vadan cha bahun vadashyanti tava ahitaha. Okay, all your enemies will start all kind of nonsense. They will just tease at you. They'll think bad about you. They take all kind of things. And what is more painful to you, right? Somebody when somebody doing a back talking, right? The word back talking comes. Is if you are happy, if you are victorious, if you are good, they'll praise at you. But if they are talking ill about you, what is more painful is that only, right? So as a Kshatriya, even Kshatriya, leave out Kshatriya, even nowadays in normal situations also, if you don't perform your duty, there'll be a lot of back talking about you. That person is waste. He just comes to office, just talks only, doesn't do any real work. His performance is waste. He doesn't know this. So many things happen, which means the back talking is more worse than actually not performing the duty. Okay, quickly, this sloka.
O son of Kunti, you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Even though there are no certainty of victory for Arjuna's side, he still had to fight. For even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets.
Okay. What is that? Why Prabhupada is making, even though there was no certainty of victory, but earlier we were saying, no, there is definitely a certainty for victory, Arjuna's side. Okay, because Krishna was there, because Agni Bhagavan gave Ratha, we have Hanuman, we have everything. But still Prabhupada is making, even though there was no certainty of victory. What is that? Is there anything like that? First of all, is there anything like that? No. Okay. There is no certainty, there is no doubt, sorry. There is completely 100% certainty that Arjuna's side will victory. But what Krishna is saying, what Prabhupada is saying, even if there is no certainty, even if it is like there is no victory, still he has to fight. Okay, that is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita message is all about, you know, being victorious, being very, no, either victory or getting lost in the battle, still you are supposed to perform your duty. Okay, so that is the message of Bhagavad Gita. Message of Bhagavad Gita is very clear. It is not everything very polished, very nice, all fundamentals, everything. No, Bhagavad Gita message is very clear that you undergo pain, you undergo tapasya, you undergo all kind of problem, but still you have to perform your duty. You have to perform your swadharma. Okay, even getting killed. Okay, hatava na prapsyasi swargam jitva. Okay, swargam jitva ava mokshase. Okay, even if you lose or if you win, you will have Swargam. Sorry, if you lose, you will go to Swargam. You die, you go to Swargam. If you win, you can enjoy the same thing here also. So, therefore, what? Tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nischaya. Krita nischaya. Nischaya means what? You have to perform. Nischaya. Certainly, you have to fight. What? Krita nischaya. So, uttishta. Uttishta means please get up. So, now what happens? Krishna is stood up. He starts talking. Arjuna is still sitting only. He just is in a very lamented state. In this entire, till this 37, 38 slokas, Arjuna is simply sitting only. He is not even touched his Gandiva. He was just simply sitting. He was just in a very lamented situation. So Krishna is trying to invoke him, trying to provoke his situation, invoke the knowledge into him that there are, this Jivatma is different. Don't see them by the body. You have to perform your duty. If you don't perform your duty, only this will come. If you fail also, it is okay. If you die also, it is okay. All I want is you have to fight. Okay.
Sukha dukha same kritva labha labhau jaya jayo tato yuddhaya yujasva naivam papam apasyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by so doing, you shall never incur sin.
Yeah,
Lord Krishna.
Yeah, good.
Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, and one is in the ordinary course of activities.
Okay, brother. Enough. So this is two parts of this thing, two parts of the understanding. One part is whatever be it, you have to fight. For the sake of fighting, you have to fight. Okay, first. So very direct and sukha dukhe samay kritva. Sukham dukham samay kritva. Labha labho jaya jayo. So what is jaya jayo? Either victory or lose. Labha or alabha. Either nashtam. Nashtam means loss, profit or loss. Sukham dukham. Whatever be it, you have to fight. Okay, that is the fundamental understanding. But what Prabhupada is making it very nicely. When you perform your duty as a matter of duty, you will get some kind of a result. Either it is good, bad, whatever be it, like based on the karma for sense gratification. But at the same time, if you perform your duty in the Krishna consciousness way, in the act for pleasing the Lord, then you are not obliged to anyone. Okay, Deva Rishi, Bhutaptir Niranam Mitranam, Nakinkaro Nayam Rishina Rajan, Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam, Gato Mukundam Parihatya Kartam. Gato Mukundam Parihatya Kartam, which means when you start performing for Mukunda, the same act, like I'm doing this activity for my sense gratification or for the Supreme Lord, that really matters. Karma Yoga is divided into two portions. One is what kind of Karma Yoga you perform for your sense gratification will give you either good or bad result. Okay, so either you go to heavenly planets or you go to hellish conditions. But the same Karma Yoga, if you perform with Krishna consciousness, with Krishna in mind for the satisfaction of Krishna, then there is no obligation, there is no bad or good, whatever be it, it is all taken care of by Krishna. So the result of it also you don't have to worry. So that is more fundamental thing. So anyway, you have to perform your duty with firm conviction, with firm faith, everything. So you don't have to really worry about what will happen next. Okay? So that is what Krishna concludes with this section. And Prabhupada also making it very nicely that at least from a Karma Yoga, you go into a Karma Yoga with Krishna consciousness. So Arjuna is in a state of mentality not performing Karma Yoga, but Krishna recommends him to perform Karma Yoga. You have to do your duty, whatever be the result, as a Kshatriya, you are supposed to do, otherwise it will happen. But what Prabhupada is making it also, you do your duty for Krishna. Then there is a big difference between performance of duty for yourself, rather performance of duty for Krishna. Okay, so if you take in that kind of a spirit and mentality, you don't have to really worry about the reactions of karma. Okay, so that is how the Karma Yoga and Karma Yoga with Krishna consciousness varies. Okay, so either for sense gratification you perform either in mode of goodness, passion, whatever be it, it will have some reaction.
So this is also called akarma, no, Prabhu?
Yes, it is called as akarma. It is called as akarma. Karma, vikarma, and akarma. Akarma means that doesn't have any kind of a reaction. So the details, more of details will coming in the 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, and 4th chapter. But here he is just giving a just one liner to make that everything understood that we have to understand. So we'll stop here. From next class, next Wednesday evening 8:30, we'll continue with 2.39, talking about analytical study. Okay, whatever we have gone through is analytical study. Now he will talk more about other aspects of the next level. Okay? So importance of knowledge, importance of jnana, why this knowledge is very important. One full section we'll talk about, and then the karma bandham prahasyasi, the bondage of reaction we have to come out of. Okay. So we saw this section 30 to 38 very shortly. What are the important points? So no one really dies, so you don't have to lament. As a Kshatriya, you have to perform your duty. It is a religious duty, swadharmam. When you perform your religious duty, you will never occur sin. You don't have to, you cannot neglect it. Dishonor is worse than death. It is better to be that. High estimation, don't be covered, because all others will frown at you, because they will talk about bad about you. In the last section, either you win or lose, better to be killed than to run away. Last, for the sake of fighting, at least you have to fight. Okay. Next section, we talk about more of knowledge, the jnana portion of it, and then he'll conclude with the bhakti portion. So we are halfway through the second chapter. Second chapter has around 72 slokas. We have completed near to 38, 39 slokas. So we saw in the beginning what is the different properties or characteristics of the jivatma or soul or atma, and also one section about performance, importance of performing the duty. So we'll stop here. So next class, Krishna willing, Wednesday 8:30, we'll continue. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
பிரபு ஆக்சுவலி சாட்டர்டே வந்து 2 weeks ஒன்ஸ் நித்யலீலா கிளாஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ அப்போ மட்டும் கொஞ்சம் சீக்கிரமா வைக்க முடியுமா பிரபு கிளாஸ்?
ஆமா மாதாஜி, அதை நான் அப்போ உங்களுக்கு பார்த்துட்டு சொல்றேன். நான் மெசேஜ் பண்றேன்.
என்னன்னு சொல்லுங்க பிரபு. ஆமா.
ஆமா.
ஓகே பிரபு, சரி, தேங்க்ஸ்.